Right now, people across the country are opening up their bank accounts and realizing that the math ain't mathing. All right. Jesus is talking in their bank account. You'll get that one next week. But rent, groceries, childcare, and healthcare are eating paychecks faster than raises can keep up, and it's pushing people who feel like they did everything right into real financial distress. We're about to see real people in their own words describe what their money actually covers right now.
The cost of living is absolutely insane. You can't afford anything anymore. Every time you go to put gas in your car, you're paying more money for fuel that isn't going to last you as long. Go to the grocery store, forget it. More people are out here deciding to hit up food banks because groceries, basic human necessities, are absolutely unaffordable. There's people in their late 20s getting priced out of their homes, having to move back in with their parents because it's not doable anymore. There's people out here making the most money that they've ever made, yet they're the brokest that they've ever been. Even if you're making like $40 an hour, you're still just barely scraping by in this economy, and that used to be a good wage too. If you were making $40 to $50 an hour just 5 short years ago, you were able to easily get ahead. And then you wonder why we're all angry and on edge because we can't afford to buy a house anymore. We can hardly even afford Walmart anymore. Yet we're working our lives away, yet the reward isn't there anymore.
Let's be real here for a minute. How are the average working Americans just surviving the economy right now? Because let me tell you, my electric bill that is due tomorrow was $1,075. Yes, you heard that right. $1,075 for 28 days.
I just want to rant for a second. So I got a $3 raise. So now I make more than 3 times the federal minimum wage, right? I make $25 an hour. Minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. Now, with that said, since I make $25 an hour and I work 40 plus hours a week, that means that 30% of my gross income is about $1,200 a month. That should be how much I can afford in rent. So I tried to put together like a little like budget for myself to see how I can make it to where, because that's my gross income, 30% of my gross income, that's before taxes. My income after taxes is literally $2,800 a month. Okay, so apparently I can afford $1,200 a month rent, not including utilities. Off $2,800 a month. Okay, cool. So I put all my bills together. I did $1,200 a month for rent, even though, guess what? You're not going to find a single place for $1,200 a month in my area. You won't even find a studio for that much. Like, people are renting out like rooms in their homes where you share a bathroom with them for over $1,000 a month.
I work 80 plus hours at my full-time job. I DoorDash, I Spark, and I just got hired for another part-time job. And it still ain't enough. Like, what do I do now?
This last year for me has been absolutely horrible. I am an entrepreneur and I have been extremely just living in actual poverty. And, you know, I've gotten through that. I lost my dog, my puppy, my baby in August. And, you know, after a really expensive surgery. And I was gonna have to leave everything and move home to Harrisburg with my dad, but I just couldn't do it. And the last minute I figured it out and I was able to stay, and I figured it out in September, but the cycles, they keep happening. And, you know, I've been struggling again, and I was banking on a huge deal that I worked so hard on, a big real estate deal that yesterday the girl backed out. We were supposed to close tomorrow, and then yesterday my car battery dies. Mind you, I have $0. I can't afford to eat, literally nothing. I have $0. And my car battery died, but I was able to fix it. But then I come out this morning and I have a boot on my car, and it's the same thing that happened in July. And it's just like God continuously is just kicking me when I'm down. And it's the cycle that just keeps happening. And nobody, like the people in my life, just the person in my life is just horrible. And I just can't do it anymore. And I'm making this video because I literally have nothing left to fucking lose, and I don't have anybody to talk to, and I'm at my wit's end. Like, I don't know how I can keep going. And I just pray that I can look back at this one day and just like hope I have the strength.
We spent $136,000 on daycare tuition for my daughter. I'm a 34-year-old mom of two. I have a 5-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son, and both of my kids have been in full-time daycare since they were 16 weeks old because my husband and I both work full-time. My daughter's heading to kindergarten in August, so we just paid her last tuition bill ever for daycare. And I decided to look back over the last 5+ years and see how much we spent. And we spent a total of $136,435, which averages to about $2,200 per month for the last 5 years. The most we ever paid on a monthly basis for her tuition was $2,545 a month, and that was back when she was an infant, which makes sense because they're so hands-on at that point. There's bottles, there's diapers, there's very few kids per teacher. Theoretically, her monthly tuition should have decreased as she got older because they move up classrooms, they're much less hands-on, so you can have more kids per teacher, but we've been averaging about a 5% tuition increase per year, so we have been paying an average of $2,200 per month every month for the last 62 months. That comes out to about $26,400 per year for daycare tuition. And as a reminder, at the beginning of the video, I said I have 2 kids. So for the last 3 years, when my youngest started daycare, we've been spending on average $53,000 per year on daycare tuition for both of our kids. The average median salary for a woman in the US is $56,600 per year. So it's no wonder that 42% of women who voluntarily left the workforce in 2025 cited caregiving or childcare costs as the main reason for their departure.
I hate to say it, but I'm honestly beginning to understand why people just choose to stay home and just live off of food stamps and live off of assistance, because the amount that you're spending in childcare just to go to work and make money, like, I'm essentially going to work to pay for childcare. I'm going to work to pay for somebody to keep my kids when I can stay home and keep my kids for free and get assistance. This isn't how I'm thinking, because I want more for my life. I want more than that, but I can see why that would seem appealing to some, because we'd go to work for what? Get out of my bed, go sit up at a job that I hate, stressed out, annoyed with the people, just to pay for somebody else to keep my kids? No, for what?
So I made a video a couple weeks ago about how teenagers basically are priced out of everything, like all activities, and that they have nothing to do and nowhere to go, and that they can't really even afford like the bare minimum, which is like going to get even fast food with their friends, and that, you know, sitting at a park and doing nothing can only be fun for so long until you start getting into other things. And I had a lot of people comment, a lot of teenagers and young adults commenting like, yeah, this is my experience, thank you for hearing me out, thank you, because this is the reality. And then I had some people commenting like, I don't know where you guys are living, but it's not that expensive. And it's like, okay, first of all, we all live in different places, Europe to America to Canada, blah, blah, blah. And saying that they had similar experiences. The economy has changed everywhere. Like, I'm 26 now. 10 years ago, I was 16. Even then, things were getting really expensive. I was making $7.20 at my first job, and I was working, you know, I was in high school, so I was probably working like, what, 20 hours a week? And I was still able to afford the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. That was the first thing I bought with my paycheck. I was still able to go out with my friends. McDonald's was $1. I was still able to afford things at the mall. I was able to fill up my gas tank by myself every time. How is this possible now with the money that they're making now at their first teenager job? With the prices that things are now, it is not possible. And moreover, as a lot of people commented, it's so hard to get a job. And I'm not even saying this is just for teenagers. It's the job market is just very hard right now. People with experience already, with multiple years of experience in whatever, are taking entry-level jobs jobs, teenager jobs, fast food jobs, because they can't get hired anywhere else. There is not as many opportunities for teenagers to get jobs. Teenager doesn't have job, teenager have no money. Teenager have no money, teenager do nothing. Teenager on phone. Like, does that make sense? We don't want them to be on their phones all day. Like, not one of those people who are like, those are the best years of your life. But there is a sweet spot of being a teenager where you have freedom and you have the ability to go out and do things to a certain extent, but you don't have as much responsibility. And that is amazing. And that is such like a short amount of time. When you get older, you look back and you're like, that was amazing, you know?
It's tough out here for everyone. I'm a controls engineer. I have a good job. I've been doing this for a minute. You can Google a controls engineer salary. I should be able to live very comfortably as a single man with 3 kids. I should have no financial struggles. I should be able to afford a home. I should be able to afford a brand new car. And all of this while taking trips and having vacations. And I live in a trailer. I drive a fairly new car, yes. But I have to budget. Like, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I cannot get ahead. I do not buy expensive clothes. I do not take expensive trips. I do not put stuff on credit card. I'm not there yet. But for what I make, I should live very comfortably, and I don't presently. I thought at one time if I made as much as I make now, I would be rich and have no problems. And that's probably true 8 years ago. But over the past 5 years, I have seen my standard of living substantially drop. I am living a lower middle class lifestyle. And I make good money. I don't drink my coffee out. I make it at home every day. I carry my lunch. I take my kids to fast food maybe once a week, 30, 40 bucks. I have a Planet Fitness membership. I shop at discount clothes. I thrift for almost everything. So telling people to just stop buying coffee and they could afford a home or just to wait a little bit till they can afford kids is just gaslighting people. We're being robbed by our government, through the hands of corporations, by our government's control. And hearing people and reading comments that people are just don't get it. They really don't. I feel bad for my kids. I feel bad for people starting out today. Gen X didn't have it very easy. The millennials didn't have it very easy. And I don't know what Gen Z is going to do. We're in a bad situation in this country financially. We're $38 trillion in debt, and they're about to turn the printers on again, which is going to cause even more inflation and even more problems. So I don't have easy answers, but telling people to stop buying coffee and wasting money, like that's we're past that. We're way past that. It's time to do something. I don't know what, but something's got to give.
So going in the store and getting basic necessities like soap and deodorant, the costs outlandish. We used to go in the store and get Dial bars of soap, Secret deodorants under $5, right? Not anymore. I just left Kroger. I normally get like a 2-pack because I hate running out of essentials or, tissues and things like that. So I tend to buy them in bulk. Left out of Kroger, a 2-pack deodorant, $13. In the store yesterday, buying tampons, pads, and things, over $10. Insane right now. Like, what are we gonna do?
This is a vulnerable post, but y'all want to know how it is to be a single mom? I currently have negative $500 in my account. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pay rent next week. And I've got so many things that are about to head to collections. I'm trying my best to just trust God, but it is hard sometimes. My babies are constantly asking me, Mommy, can you get this? Mommy, can you get that? No. No, I can't. When I have money, I will. I wish I had enough money to buy them every single freaking thing they ask for. And it is hard to say no. And I feel like I break their little hearts every freaking time I have to say it. I live in a small town, okay? But, like, everybody has moved here, so prices are freaking ridiculous. I'm paying right now what 10 years ago was the amount for a really nice 3-bedroom in a brand new apartment.
Here is my question. How do you afford children? Young families, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so freaking sorry. There are things in Dallas that we want to do, but we don't want to spend $200 to $300 a day to entertain these kids. And it's just not worth it. It was going to be like $180 for the 4 of us to go do something that doesn't even take an hour. And it's not like, yeah, I could pay for it, but like, I don't want to spend almost $200 to go do something that's over in an hour. It's so flippin' expensive to have kids. I have kids. I have 2 grown children, right? So I have been through those years of being a young parent, and you're trying to, like, it's summer and you want to have fun with them. And of course we're doing fun things, but like, you have to make choices because everything is out of control. It's outrageous. Just the price of things. I don't know how people do it.
I am trying to do everything within my means to not be spending, and still it is debilitating. And then I have to, like, ask my dad for freaking money, which is so freaking embarrassing. Makes me feel like such a failure. Like, I have a master's degree and I work every single day and I work hard and I'm good at my job, and it doesn't matter because I live alone in New York. I live alone on Long Island, and I'm trying to pay off my debt. And so that means that I've got just about nothing.
Here's a taste of homelessness in Maui. These people live in their cars, and ironically, they're right near the stores because they get their government check, and it's enough for food, but not enough to rent a place. There's a nice one. So that's just a taste of people living in their cars. It's a homeless community in Maui. Maui, baby. Okay, what a tough life. Rent is very expensive in Maui.
So what's the plan when nobody has anything to lose? Because as far as I'm concerned, there's so many people opting out of having kids. Nobody can afford to buy a house. Nobody can really afford to buy new cars. People are driving around 12+ year old cars that are like breaking down, me being one of them. And nobody really owns anything because everything's a subscription service. So like, what do you even have? And now that people are being threatened with losing their jobs, like, I'm in an industry that like the past 2 years has been under threat of layoffs and firings every so often. When you don't have a job either, and therefore like you don't have health insurance, you have nothing to lose. And I don't know, to me, in my mind, that creates a very unstable situation, because people that have nothing to lose either hide away and get depressed and hold themselves away somewhere, or they act kind of not violently. And yeah, I've just been thinking about that lately because I've just been wondering what that would actually look like here, because I feel like we might be coming upon that.
I would consider the American life pretty unaffordable. And that's coming from someone that's canceled all streaming services, has minimal subscriptions. I don't have a car payment. I don't drive a new car. I don't keep up with trends. I cook a lot of my meals at home. I thrift my clothing, I don't buy new electronics, but I remember the days when I regularly purchased round-trip airfare for $250 a ticket, and I'm currently paying $500 to $800 for the exact same tickets. Back in 2024, a lot of people told me that they wanted lower cost of living, cheaper groceries, and a healthier America. But I've got some questions. Pretty ironic to be saying that at the same time that my city has issued an air quality alert where I'm not supposed to be outside because the air is not good enough to breathe. And currently our country is experiencing a parasite epidemic where you're not supposed to buy and eat fresh produce either.
This housing crisis is a real thing. I walk every morning in my complex, and every week almost I see people have been evicted. And where it used to be that there were places that provided resources for families going through financial hardships, a lot of these people have been depleted of their funds because that's just how many people are in need right now. So you can't even get help like you used to when you can't afford to pay your rent because of whatever factors, because everybody's situation is not the same. But the main problem is people are not being paid enough to live a sustainable life. Like you have to have a 2-person income to sustain a livable situation where you're not struggling, where you're not, robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's just, it's so sad. There is just no way in 2026 the minimum wage should be $7.25. Don't know which jobs are paying that, but the fact that there are jobs that pay that, it's ridiculous. And for some people, that's their only option. And, even $20 in 2026 is not sufficient to live a sustainable lifestyle.
How are people affording kids? I went to the grocery store yesterday, bought 7 things, spent over $100. And as I'm leaving the store, this guy's walking with 2 young kids. I'm just doing mental math. How? How are people doing it? I don't understand.
So as an older millennial, I'm part of the generation that has been, screaming from the rooftops about how expensive life is right now, right? We don't have enough for retirement. We don't have enough in savings. And we're constantly told by the older generation, our parents' generation, boomers, that we're just spending too much, right? It's our spending habits. If we just stop buying Starbucks and stop eating out so much, we'll have all the money we need. And while some of that might be true, I had 2 instances today that was just a reminder on how out of touch that older generation is with the cost of everyday items. So I'm at the grocery store, I'm in the parking lot. On the way here, I was on the phone with my mother. She had some doctor's appointments, I had some doctor's appointments. We were kind of updating each other, and we were talking about my toddler and how we're potty training her and how excited I am to no longer have to buy diapers. And I said to her, can you believe that a box of diapers costs $45? And it was silence. And she went, $45? Yeah. She goes, whoa. It hadn't even occurred to her how expensive diapers are these days. And rightfully so, right? She hasn't bought diapers in 40 years. So it didn't even occur to her how expensive an everyday necessity item like that actually is right now. And then I was coming out of the grocery store. Now I've got a trunk full of groceries, right? This is going to last us probably about 2 weeks. Some things will probably run out of sooner. It was about $450 worth of groceries. It was a full cart of groceries. And I'm walking out, and these 2 older women are next to me. I would put them maybe late 70s, early 80s. They're very sweet ladies. And they said, oh, wow, you got a lot of groceries to put up, right? And I look over, and they've just got a few items in their cart. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's a family of 4. And again, it reminded me, they have no idea how much it costs to feed a young family of 4 right now, right? They only have to worry about their couple of little groceries, and then that's it. They probably, if I told them I just spent $450 on groceries, their mind probably would be blown, right? And that's food and groceries, and we're talking fresh produce. It's not I get my kids the junkiest stuff, right? We've got meat and produce and milk and all that kind of stuff in there, and diapers and all these things that are a necessity. That older generation, they just don't realize how expensive all of this stuff is. And yes, while there might be some people out there with terrible spending habits, and maybe that's why they can't afford certain things, but then again, look at what everyday items are costing us, and then think about that might be why we're also broke.
So we're in Walmart shopping, and it is unbelievable how expensive food is. I don't know how people are surviving because food is just so expensive. You know, and we don't make more money, but everything goes up. And I don't understand how people are surviving because I'm barely, and between my wife and I, we make okay money, I guess. But I guess it's not okay nowadays because literally everything is so expensive. We're getting like 4 bags full of shit for $200-$300. It's disgusting, and I'm over it.
I would love to know how everybody's affording to live. I sent my fiance, because they're still fiancés because weddings are ridiculous, but I sent him out to the store. I asked for garbage bags, I asked for 2 rolls of paper towels, and I asked for 2 vitamin waters. I said, go into my wallet, there's $30, take it, so we don't use the credit card because that's probably at the max. And he gets back, and I'm like, okay, where's the change? He's like, what change? It was $34. I said, $34? What the f did you even get? And for everyone saying, oh, well, just use reusable paper towel. Listen, babe, we're not doing that. We tried that method. It doesn't work for this family. The juices spilling and everything else. The main point is that it shouldn't cost $34 for 4 things, okay? I want to know, how are we affording to live? Because I'm 2 seconds away from a mental breakdown.
In 2 months, it's going to become completely unaffordable to live in the United States. And I'm not talking about luxury lifestyle. I'm talking about basic middle-class needs.
Cannot make this up. I'm just homeless, living out of my car because I had to move out of my house. The dogs are jam-packed. So yeah. All right, we are checking out of the Airbnb. I do one last walkthrough and make sure I have everything. I took the couch covers off, stripped the bed, and finishing a load of laundry. But the dogs are ready to go, the car is packed. And I always get so paranoid that I'm gonna leave something behind. Sit. Sit. Maya. Teddy. Teddy, go. Teddy, up. Teddy, go. Max. Callie. Callie. So we're in the process of moving right now, and the car is just jam-packed. So yeah, the dogs just have to deal with it. Dogs are in the car, one last final walkthrough, and then on to the next place.
Me and my husband, we live paycheck to paycheck. And when I say paycheck to paycheck, I literally mean it. We have 1 child. We live in a 1-bedroom with a den for our son. It's perfect for the 3 of us, but we live paycheck to paycheck. Literally half of my husband's paycheck is going towards rent, and the other half are car bills, food, gas, everything else, stuff for our child. And we could barely make it by. We just, by the skin of our nose, make it by every single month. I don't even know how sometimes, but how are people able to buy houses in this day and age and have multiple kids and go on vacation? Like, I'm asking for a friend, like, how are you able to do it? Please comment down below because I really need to know. I feel like we're missing something, or I don't know. Like, it's hard out here. It's rough. And I've seen a few people post about this, but like, it's not talked about enough. How are people making it work? I really want to know. Please.
This is a summary of what it is to live in the United States in 10 seconds. We pay taxes on money we earn, taxes on money we spend, taxes on things that we already own, with money that we have already been taxed.
2 months before the election, I chose to give up housing and move full-time into this minivan that I'm cleaning out right now, simply because I trusted myself more than I trusted the federal government. And I was betting on the fact that no matter who got elected, it would be a long while before housing costs went down or wages went up or the economy changed a little bit for the better. But I'm here to report back 14 months later. I knew the whole time I could go back into the misery of living in an apartment and paying rent if it was better than this. But it's not, for me at least. And it takes a certain kind of person, scrappy, remote job, adventurous, no kids, overly confident probably, to do something like this and make it a financially strategic move. But it was. And I just want to say that if I was paying $2,300 a month in that beige box Colorado apartment on year 3 of the lease that had started out at $1,750, watching this particular news cycle, I would be in the psych ward. So it all worked out.
Hi, I am a resident of California. I'm 61 years old, and I just wanted to share my shock because I just got in from the mailbox and opened up my Anthem bill summary for my healthcare premium. Evidently, my subsidies have expired for the month of December, and so my bill jumped from $314.40 to $864.60 for December. And then I also got my estimated bill for what it will be for 2026, $1,296 a month. I can't pay that. I'm not eligible for Medicare yet because I'm still 61. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. I think I may have to cancel my insurance and just go without and take the risk until I can be eligible for Medicare. I'm eligible for Medicare mid-year next year, but I can't afford almost $1,300 for my healthcare premium. Plus, that's just major medical. That's a very high deductible. It's no copay. It's so ridiculous. I don't understand how the average American's supposed to make it. It's just, I'm on a limited income. I cannot afford this. So just curious if anyone else is having the same issues that I'm having.
There is now 0 states in the U.S. where a minimum wage job is enough to afford a 2-bedroom apartment. Now, whoa, before you go, well, don't work a minimum wage job, go find a better paying job. The whole reason a minimum wage was created was to prevent worker exploitation. The goal was to ensure that even the lowest paid workers could afford basic necessities. The real problem is that it's not even just the minimum wage. Even if you make the average salary in the United States $66,000 a year, you can still barely get by because the average annual expenses in 2023 was almost $80,000 a year. And we know that in the past 2 years, shit has hit the fan. To have the same purchasing power as the boomers did in the 1970s, a minimum wage job would have to be close to $60 an hour. A minimum wage job. Why don't you go find a $60 an hour job? Let me know how that goes. But no, we shouldn't tax the ultra wealthy and the mega corporations who are creating this crisis, because we should just wait for the money to trickle down into our mouths and all over our body. It's going to trickle down.
Here's the real question. If millions of families are going into debt just to eat, what does that say about the true health of the U.S. economy? A new survey shows that about a quarter of Americans are using buy now, pay later apps like Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay just to buy groceries. We are not talking about sneakers and vacations. We're talking about milk, eggs, and pasta on a payment plan. And that number is climbing fast, which means more and more people literally can't afford food up front anymore. Let's be honest, Wall Street might look fine, but Main Street is starving. Call me crazy, but I would love to live in a society where moms don't have to worry about feeding their children, where dads don't have to work 10 jobs to make sure that Eggos can go in the toaster in the morning. That would be my ideal society, but I know I'm a little crazy.
Yesterday was payday, so let's budget my teacher paycheck as a single mom of 3 working 2 jobs. My total income after taxes and after family insurance is $1,936. I'm going to tell you right now, I am short this pay period from my teacher paycheck. I'm going to immediately move $500 to my groceries and gas account for the next 2 weeks. I'll move $100 to my Apple Pay for random spending money. $65 for nails. So right now I'm at $1,271 left of my teacher paycheck. I have a $250 car payment. I have $250 for car insurance. $24 for an Airtable subscription. So I used Airtable for free for years. It did start charging me a couple months ago, and I will be looking into that this week. Before and after school childcare for 2 weeks is $140. I'm setting aside $295 for family appointments and mental health miscellaneous. I have a credit card payment of $100. Now at $212 left of my teacher paycheck. $12 for Planet Fitness, and maybe I should cancel because I do have workout stuff in my basement. $85 for my daughter's dance tuition. $6 for the Greenlight debit card plan for my boys. Okay, so now we're at $109. My water bill does come out this month. I budget for $250, so if it's less than that, I'll add the difference to my kids' sinking fund or a travel sinking fund. We're definitely in the negative now. Rent is $1,500. So here we are at negative $1,641 for my bills for the next 2 weeks. No worries. So I'm gonna move that exact number from my reserve account to my main account to pay for those bills.
The prices being so hiked up while the quality is just crap, I'm officially done. Like, I said this before, but now I really am. I'm so done. And I saw another creator say this. She was like, I can tell the recession indicator because she's like, I went to TJ Maxx, Home Goods, and I felt nothing. I had no, want for anything. I didn't get the normal dopamine hit I normally get. And I'm just like, I feel like the veil has been lifted from all of our eyes. I don't know if it's just I don't even feel like it's depressive. I walked around the mall the other day and I just saw nothing that made me want to buy it. I looked at these pair of pajamas. I was like, oh, those are really cute. And then I looked at the price and it was early Black Friday, 40% off. And then the original price was $80. So it was overpriced. Who cares? I'm I'll just I could go to the thrift store and get a really cute pair of very nice pajamas for $3, come home, wash them thoroughly, dry them and wear them, and it would be the same exact feeling I would get. I'm over it. I'm over spending all this money. McDonald's, which I'm not even going to go there anymore, but when I did, if me and the kids would eat at McDonald's, not even me included, just me and my 3 kids, it's $40 some out dollars. For McDonald's, Chipotle is crazy. They're charging $13 for bowls now. Everything is insane and the quality is crap. Everything tastes disgusting. Unless it's a local place, I am so over it.
This is a real life testament of how the government is affecting a 22-year-old person living in Texas in the year of 2025. I have my degree. I have my degree in food service. I specifically chose that degree because I knew that everybody needs food. There would always be a job in food service. I cannot find a job from my degree, because technically, getting into specifics, my degree is in baking and pastry, that pays more than $15 an hour. I have seen dishwasher positions offering to pay more. I have applied to nearly every food service related job in a 20-mile radius to my house. I had an interview with Chili's last week. Chili's! As a to-go expediter. We'll give you a call back if you get the job. Nothing. No call back. Degree. I went to college. I have been working food service for 6 years. And I was denied a job at Chili's. Food. Or living situation. Let's get into that. I currently make, because I work 1099s, I work 3 jobs right now. I do DoorDash, I do pet sitting, and I am a personal assistant. Currently, right now, I have just made the most money I have ever made. My entire life, actually. I was gonna say this year, but my entire life. I made over $3,000 this month. $3,000. The most I have ever made in a month. The most I have ever made in a year. The most I have made in my life. I don't qualify for SNAP benefits. because I currently live with my parents. So, okay, I was looking at getting an apartment. You need to make 2.5 times, you need to make 3 times your rent. I can't find a studio or 1-bedroom apartment that is in a decent-ish area, that has work opportunities, that is less than $800 a month. Let's up that. $1,200 a month. So instead, I'm moving in with my aunt for $800 a month. But guess what? I still don't qualify for SNAP benefits, because the average income of the household is more than the requirement. But why should the household be responsible for my food? I don't want my aunt to have to pitch in to pay for my food. I currently pay for everything. I'm currently at my parents' house. I don't pay rent here, and I pay for everything. The only thing that I do not pay for, correction, is my car insurance. That is the only thing I do not pay for. Living in America as a young adult is near impossible. And now they've cut off SNAP benefits for those who were able to get them. What kind of dystopian story are we living in?
Can we start making things affordable again? Like, what has happened in the last 4 years that stuff is just not affordable anymore? Houses, cars, groceries, like everything is so expensive. And it doesn't seem to be going down. And like car prices keep going up, home prices keep going up, and yet people are still making the same amount of money. So nothing's really changed in that regard. The median income for working class families is still almost the same as it was 5 to 10 years ago. And yet the price of everything has gone up triple, sometimes quadruple. I remember you used to be able to buy a car for under $20,000. I don't even think you can find a car for under 20 unless it's super used. And the price of a home right now, if you can even afford one, is through the roof. It's ridiculous. Like, why is everything so expensive?
Not to beat a dead horse, but it's getting real unaffordable out here, and I have no idea what to do about it or what can be done about it, because it just feels like we're all on a runaway train, or a lot of us, not all, are on a runaway train that no one has control of. I go to the grocery store and, to get personal care items and cleaning products and all that kind of stuff every week or every 2 weeks, because that stuff runs out and you have to go back to the store and get it, obviously. And I buy roughly the same stuff. Like, I'm a creature of habit and cook the same recipes, buy the same products, and the dollars just are not stretching the way that they used to. And so it's turning into a situation where I'm having to use my credit card, and I'm swiping my credit card a lot more, whereas I used to try to just use my debit card and get out of that habit of using my credit card so that I use money that's actually available. But it's just like, the money is just not there. The money is not there because everything is just seemingly so much more expensive. And I'm freaking out a little bit because, the debt is piling up and there's no end in sight. Obviously, it's find a second job or, find a alternative source of income. And that's just easier said than done, especially when you work full time and your job is demanding. There's just there's not a lot of time to do that. Not that I'm not willing to do that. I have done that. I've picked up retail jobs on the side, throughout my entire career. I'm tired though. And I feel like the stress of my job, which is already can be stressful at times, and then the stress of figuring out how to survive and the stress of managing debt and all of that stuff has contributed to my health issues over the years, because if you don't follow me, just go back on my page and you'll see just like I have so many things that have happened to me over this year, but just like over the last several years, which then accumulates into even more debt because it's like you have medical bills and blah, 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 blah. Even though I have health insurance, you know, health insurance never covers 100% of everything. So I don't know. It's like I come on here every month, I feel like, and have an existential crisis about finances and life and digging myself out of this hole at 32 years old and just being able to like breathe and be a woman and do things like I don't know. I did do a lot this year because I was like, I can't keep missing out on stuff and saying, oh, I'll do it next year, I'll do it next year, I'll do it next year. I hate being that person. But I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the right decision. It's like I always am like, things are gonna work itself out, money comes back. Things always do have a way of working themselves out. It's just hard to see that in the moment. And I wish there was just like a more of a concerted effort. This is not partisan at all. Like, this is not a political opinion, but as a citizen, like, I just wish that there was something being done on a level that's above me to help us out down here. And that's to whoever, doesn't matter, whatever side it is, I don't care. It just like, because we need help. A lot of us need help. And I don't know where we're gonna get that help or what's gonna happen. Like, is 2026? I'm not excited to go into 2026. I mean, I am, like, don't strike me down. But if it's gonna be like this, then I don't know. I don't know.
There is a public school in Cincinnati, Ohio that is funding a parking lot for homeless families that don't have anywhere to go because parking anywhere else, anywhere, is illegal. We have a school providing a homeless parking lot for families.
Okay, let's talk about something real quick. I've been doing deliveries for years. Now, I know the end of September or middle of September to about the middle of October it slows down. But bruh, you can get mad about me saying this stuff about the company. This, it don't slow down. Like, it's slowing super down. Like, I've never seen it like this. I'm almost like a veteran at this stuff, and people are not spending money. Okay, it's bruh, I'm going by the churches and it's Sunday and ain't nobody in there. Ain't got nothing to do with no football season. Bruh, I've been doing this for years, and I'm telling you, people are tightening up on their money, man. I'm like, ooh, I'm just telling you, spend your money smartly. If you haven't been doing it, please do it now. Go to some of the places where you can save money. If you don't need it, don't get it.
The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year. That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. And we're going to go through some things here. This is a person with no debt outside of a car. And please don't hit me with the, you can go buy a car for, shut up, you can't, shut up, stop saying ridiculous things. An entry-level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k because, shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to get to start doing it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck, and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700. That car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy, a car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. You're a young person, you've got a nice job, but the insurance companies still want to screw you over. Food. You only cook at home. You never, ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make 75 grand a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually at a $75,000 wage? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie. You do nothing. If you can't find it on the internet for free, you don't get to do it. If you can't cook it at home for your $800, you don't get to do it. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. And there's going to be, well, that's $300. Shut up. Shut your stupid, contrarian, edgelord mouth. That's not a doctor bill, because God knows just because we have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctors. People like to be entertained. They want to date. They want to... There's those of you out there that will tell somebody living like this on $75,000 a year before taxes that they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that they should get a second job, that they should get a side hustle, that they should get a better job. And the fact that you would look at somebody with no debt other than a car and say something like this to them means objectively you're a moron and you live in a fantasy world. This is unsustainable.
It's not just one person's bad month. It's a pattern that's showing up across almost every income level in every part of the country. When people are making good money by like any normal standard and they still can't get ahead, that says something bigger and where the economy actually stands right now. So tell me, which one of those stories hit closest to home for you? Do you know people who are going through this? And what has your own budget looked like this year, right? Have you been changing things up? I know we have. My wife and I, we've switched up a whole lot just so we can make sure that we are still continuing a good quality of life. So remember, y'all, you for sure need a business, a side business in this economy. And if you want to learn more about my thoughts on that and what I've said about that topic, here's a video that you can check out as well. And make sure you go ahead and like this video for the algorithm and subscribe to the channel. If you made it to this part of the video, you are absolutely legendary, and I'll see you in the next one.